Bent double, like old beggars under sacks, knock-kneed, coughing like hags, we cursed through sludge, till on the haunting flares we turned our backs, and towards our distant rest began to trudge. Men marched asleep. Many had lost their boots, but limped on, bloodshot. All went lame, all blind, drunk with fatigue, deaf even to the hoots of gas shells dropping softly behind. Gas! Gas! Quick, boys! An ecstasy of fumbling, fitting the clumsy helmets just in time, but someone still was yelling out and stumbling, and floundering like a man in fire or lime. Dim through the misty panes and thick green light, as under a green sea, I saw him drowning. In all my dreams, before my helpless sight, he plunges at me, guttering, choking, drowning. If in some smothering dreams you too could pace behind the wagon that we flung him in, and watch the white eyes writhing on his hanging face like a devil sick of sin. If you could hear at every jolt the blood come gargling from the froth-corrupted lungs, obscene as cancer, bitter as the cut of vile, incurable sores on innocent tongues, my friend, you would not tell with such high zest to children ardent for some desperate glory, the old lie, Dulce et decorum est, pro patria mori. This is the analysis of Dulce et decorum est by Wilfred Owen using the Venler grid technique. The meaning of this poem explains that the war is more intense than imagined and that most soldiers are at their lowest point, but they still have to stay on their feet and alert at all times. Next is antecedent scenarios. This is set in a war zone during World War II. Before everything in the poem took place, there was more war, and the soldiers were probably moving towards a new area. They were tired and weary, and they felt like the same situations were happening to them over and over, so their senses were not at their best. The division of the poem is divided into 4 structural parts, including an explanation of the scenario, the climax, a shift in the story, and more description. The climax is found to be in the second stanza where it says, "Gas, gas, quick, boys." The repetition and capitalization is used to shock the reader. The dash is used as a long pause before adding more explanation. This is also where the tone shifts after the scenario is explained. The climax includes all the action with a gas attack on the soldiers. In the first stanza, the scenario and the emotion of the soldiers are explained. The soldiers are weary from fighting, and they're tired and negative, so their senses aren't very awake. There are a lot of metaphors and similes to explain their mental and physical state. The third stanza places an emphasis on the fellow soldier who is dying and shifts the attention from the attack as a whole to just one person. The fourth stanza includes more of a description on the dying soldier and a reflection of the horrified soldier watching and how he feels about the war. There are metaphors for sickness, as the physical wounds can be used to describe the soldier's mental state. There is religious imagery when it says that like a devil sick of sin. This is the skeleton explained on a graph. You can see it starting in the middle and staying constant because they are in a war zone, so it's very high stakes, but they're all very weary. It then shoots up at the climax because of an unexpected attack, then slowly moves back down as the attention goes from the whole chaotic scene to just one soldier. But because the soldier is still very horrifying to watch, it slowly moves back up and ends high because the ending of the soldier regretting his choice to fight. There's a lot of diction that helps form the tone, like in the first stanza, words like beggars, sludge, haunting, trudge, asleep, limped, blood, lame, etc. all give off tired and a negative tone. In the fourth stanza, words like writhing, jolt, blood, froth, corrupted, etc. all give off a very disgusted and horrified tone. The tone shift can be seen in stanza 2 from fatigued to chaotic. For roads not taken, the tone and theme would have shifted if the soldier had more stamina because he would have been willing to fight for his country if he had a little more energy. The author of the poem could have also decided to take a differing perspective as the dying soldier. This would have helped give the reader an insight on whether he would have been scared and horrified or accepting of his fate and death. There is a A-B-A-B-C-D-C-D rhyme scheme. It has 4 stanzas, and all of them are lengthy except for the 3rd stanza, which is a couplet. The title is very deceiving, as one would think that the poem would be about nationalism and patriotic feelings, but really it is the lack of the two. This is very imaginative on the author's part. There's a whole lot of imagery seen in the 3rd and 4th stanzas describing the dying man.